Demystifying VA claims, getting started. Let's start at the beginning. We talk a lot about VA claims, but let's walk it through the numbers. First and foremost, you're going to want to go to VA.gov. If you're able to start your account there and you can apply there. Again, you can call it in, you can fax it in, you can do it in person, but online there's a lot of good resources. So let's talk a little bit about that. The VA claim process as a whole, right? If you are an active duty member, you are a reservist or National Guardsman who has served and incurred in some shape, fashion, or form on duty an injury or a disability, you have the ability to file a claim. And we'll talk about that here in a few as well. So, this is not a welfare situation. This is not a situation where it's a handout. It's rather you incurred an injury that has become disabling and you can file for disability, which in turn can be compensated via finances monthly and also getting care at the VA for that condition over time. And should it get worse, you can file for increases. So over at VA.gov, you can go ahead and take a look at some of the different information they have. If you click on, for example, here, it'll drop down, go to disability. You'll see eligibility for disability, how to file a claim, filing a claim online. So it's very user friendly compared to how it used to be. If you click on eligibility, you'll see here the breakdown of how you will file for this. A service connected condition, as we mentioned, is an illness or injury that was caused or got worse because of your active military service. So it has to be tied to active military service. Now, one key thing here that many people forget is caused or made worse. Sometimes the service doesn't cause a disability, but it can aggravate or make it worse. So that has to be known. Now you'll see here it talks about instances where both of these must be true. You have to have served and have a current illness or injury that affects both mind and or body. Now this is key. When you hear me talk about you need to have a diagnosis, that's a key element here. You have got to have a current illness or injury, not just something that happened in service or I went to sick call way back when. It has to be a current condition and you show that by having a current diagnosis. So even if you haven't gone to the doctor in a while because maybe care wasn't something that made sense or options were limited, get a checkup, get seen again to make sure all these things are actively still being treated and you're still currently diagnosed for it. And then it speaks to the fact that one of these has to be true. You got sick or injured while in military service, you had an illness or injury before you joined the military service, and serving made it worse. Instances that's called pre-service disability claims. So there are instances where service makes something worse, right? Or you have a disability related to active duty service that didn't appear until after you ended service. So you have instances where things may happen in service, things that may have been made worse from prior service, or things that may develop post service. And then presumptive conditions and things that we've talked about before. Now, so that's pretty much the eligibility side of the house. Now, if you go over here to how to file a claim, you'll have the ability to go through the eligibility process. It'll speak about the things that you need. Medical records, hospital records, VA records, your private records also are valid. These things are key, supporting statements and so forth. So a lot of the information that you're going to need to put your claim together, it starts to list these things out. It speaks about you have to submit evidence of the claim. You don't have to submit it to support your claim, but it but we may need to schedule a claim exam so we can learn more about your condition. They do have a duty to assist. I recommend you try to do your due diligence and give the VA as much as you can so they can go ahead and have a full developed claim with all the information pertinent that you will provide. Now, from there, your intent to file, that's a big one here, right? So we talk about what a VA claim is, who's eligible, and so forth. Now we talk about starting an intent to file. You'll do that right here online, and you'll see here that this pretty much starts the clock. Now, in intent to file, as you see here, it sets a potential start date or effective date for your benefits. If you notify us of your intent to file, you may be able to get retroactive payments to this date. So you don't have to worry about what I'm going to file right now. It gives you a year to file this claim, as you see here, right? So you go ahead and do that again online, fax the paper, and so forth. And then, as you see here, it tells you have a year to complete the claim, right? So the process of the VA claim process, once you go in there, you log in, you'll see here it gives you the ability to do intent to file. It'll give you the start date and give you the end date, and then you can close out the application and it's saved in the records. The process you see here has increased over time now, 148 days, give or take, may take longer, all depends. You can check your status of your claim, but pretty much this is the process that happens for a VA claim. The claim is received, whether it's online or application mailed in. Initial review takes place. It goes into gathering evidence and review decision phase. So during this three steps, they may ask you for information, healthcare records, other things. They'll review the evidence. You'll be called for CMP exams. And at that point, a decision will be made. If they need more information, they may be able to return that, ask for things of you as needed. From there, once they have all that they need to begin to decide, they'll go into preparation for notification, where again, a decision has been made. They'll notify you at that point. The claim will be complete, and then you'll have time to see that. Online, you'll see the results as well, or you also get one in the mail. So, some things to consider when it comes to that. Again, this is the process there. When you go to file the claim online, you'll log in and it'll give you the ability to go through this process. It's very user friendly as far as the things that they're asking you. So it'll ask you if you're active duty or not. So here you'll see the ability to go through the process online to file the claim. So it's pretty user friendly once you're logged in. It'll ask you some questions to get started. For example, are you on active duty now? Yes or no. If you are, it'll ask you when your expected separation date is. If you're not on active duty, it'll start asking questions. For example, I'm filing a new claim for a new condition or for something that's gotten worse, or I'm disagreeing with a VA decision and so forth. And as needed, it begins the process of taking you through that. Again, depending on what you're doing, it'll tell you and guide you to the process. So it's got way more user friendly than what eBenefits used to be, for example. So that's one of the key things I wanted to hit on there as far as that's concerned. So again, whether you're active duty or reservist and you have an injury or disability that stemmed from active service when you were on orders, that's one of the biggest things to keep in mind when it comes to this. Again, make sure you at least start an intent to file, start a claim online, open a VA.gov account if you don't have one. If you have questions, feel free to jump into the chat and we'll answer some of those questions as needed. But this is basically demystifying VA claims, getting started. Again, there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to this, but you served, you have the right to be able to file a claim as needed for injuries or disabilities stemming from service.